Good morning-ish, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham D, and I'm joined by the man that we call Bibby. I'll read Bib.
Good morning, Graham.
Good morning, good morning. Wanted to take a nice slurp of the coffee. 1 second.
You slurp that shit. As you can see, we aren't in the studio today. We are in our home setups.
Complete with squeaky mic arm. I don't know if you heard that then.
I definitely heard that one.
Yeah, so we are back in our home setups today. If you don't know who we are, what this is, what the whole thing is, what we're on about at home setups and studio, well, my name is Graham. This is Bibby. We are Ice Cream Uploads in true Ice Creamy fashion. This is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast, if we do say so ourselves. Anyway, we do go live 5 times a week. On a Monday and a Friday, we are always going to be at home in this sort of setup. Vern, thank you very much for the host, dude. Good morning. Thank you very much. Fresh off the back of dropping 5 whole gifties in yesterday's stream. What a guy. Thank you very much, Vern. So yeah, on a Monday and a Friday, we are back in our home setups. On a Tuesday and a Thursday, we will be in the studio. And on a Wednesday, we'll be a hybrid. Ish. Well, that's the one that could change a bit. Maybe I'm going to be at home. Maybe Bibby's going to be in the studio. Maybe Bibby will go back at home as well. We'll see. We'll keep you on your toes. Anyway, you can see those streams at 10 a.m. ish each and every single weekday. Twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. We have shared our new schedule as well, by the way. If you guys haven't seen that, we posted that out late last night. So if anyone wants to see the ICU stream schedule, do you know what? I'll bring it on screen. Not only do we bring you the scoop 5 days a week, but we also bring you an additional 4 streams, which means Ice Cream Uploads content will now be happening 7 days a week, every week, until, it doesn't. But you know what? You get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Anyway, so here is the stream schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. As we are now, and as it says in the stream, 10 a.m.-ish for the scoop. Friday, Saturday and Sunday, we will have additional streams. This week, I'll be playing PUBG. Bibby will be playing Back for Blood on the weekends. So 10 a.m. slots every morning, 7 days a week, bringing you all the content. Woo! You'll love to see it. Then in the evening, starting tonight, 6:30 p.m., Chasing Crates with Mates, I will be live with Mr. iLotus UK himself. So do feel free to drop into the stream this evening for some PUBG fun times. Bibby will also be live tomorrow night playing FIFA. The FIFA Frenzy from 6:30-ish. Notice every stream has an ish. This is week 1 of this new stream schedule. So everything is ish. I mean, everything is ish with our stream schedules anyway, but that is the new stream schedule. So starting from tonight, evening streams on a Wednesday and a Thursday, and then Saturday morning streams, weekend morning streams, Saturday and Sunday. You love to see it. Need to think of a name, though, for me and Lotus's stream tonight. So he's Lotus Biscoff ice cream. We've had Biscoff ice cream. Lotus says moist quite a bit. So do we have moist cream? Creamy moist? I don't know. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. You guys can figure it out with us too, live from around 6:30-ish tonight. Yeah. Twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads and Twitch.tv/iLotusUK_. Nice. Anyway, that's enough about the rest of the schedule. So we obviously are live on Twitch, where we go live each and every single weekday. But if you are with us on Twitch right now, please do feel free to get involved in the chat over the next hour or so. As mentioned, this is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast, if we do say so ourselves. And we will be bringing you the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions on those stories, but that's not where it stops. We want your thoughts and impressions. We also want your hosts, like Timeless has just thrown down on the stream. Thank you very much, Timeless, for dropping the host on the screen. Scream? It's Halloween. It counts. So yeah, we want your thoughts and impressions. We also want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. That's the important part. This whole show is a podcast and a discussion. So we go over the biggest, best stories from the world of video games live on Twitch, but we then turn the live stream into a podcast, a video podcast on YouTube, and an audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you're in the chat, please do feel free to get involved on behalf of everyone that watches and listens on demand. And on that subject, Mr. Bib has been crunching numbers this morning.
I have been crunching some big numbers this morning.
We obviously record the podcast on Twitch, so that's where a lot of the focus is, because you guys get involved with us live on Twitch. We then put the podcast on YouTube, and then the audio podcast services. A little bird in the shape of Bib tells me that our audio podcast services are absolutely killing it. Is that not right?
It is absolutely right. So we're just short. And I mean, this is ridiculous considering how many people actually join us in the morning and how many people watch it on YouTube and stuff like that. And I always said that SoundCloud was like the numbers were ridiculous over there. I don't know why, but like people over in America absolutely love it, and we've talked about it, and I think it's because obviously we go live in the morning, so we kind of cater for the UK audience, the people who are in work that can listen to us or lurk or whatever. They have the opportunity to be able to do that, whereas the Americans don't, because most of them are in bed. So when they wake up in the morning, we would have put our podcast live and on all the on-demand services. Did the number cruncher this morning. This is just from our podcast services. This isn't from YouTube or our numbers from Twitch, which I imagine would make this number double. But just short of 30,000 people have listened to this podcast.
That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
I cannot believe it. In fact, I'm going to make a little small deck or something, like a post or something that we could put on socials, or we get our design team to do it, just to give some metrics. I mean, I'm probably not going to put the Google Play ones on because we've managed to amass 10 people following us on Google Play. We've not one person. We've not one person listening to it. Like, we've had 17 impressions in 2 years on Google Play, so we'll probably remove that one altogether. Like, fuck that.
To be fair, I don't think I follow it. I don't even know how.
I have an Android.
So yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But 30,000. That's like our total following across our social channels and Twitch and everything times by 10. It's like maybe not quite 10, but it's ridiculous amount of 30,000 people. That's ridiculous. So yeah, smashing it. Thank you everyone for the support. Literally, our numbers are ridiculous at the moment, and we've never been about the numbers. It's always about the content, about having fun, about interacting with people. So I mean, I posted something with a bit of a pinky in the brain sort of hint to it. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Day before? Whenever it was. No, it was yesterday. It was yesterday. Wow, a lot's happened in the last 24 hours. We passed not only 150 subscribers on Twitch, which means we get another emote slot. We've announced the new schedule, but I also mentioned that last week we hit 2,600 followers. The week before we hit 100 subscribers for the first time. We've just had 30,000 people listen to us in total on SoundCloud. It's just fucking numbers left, right, and centre. And we've never been about the numbers, which is why it's so impressive, because it's always been about, okay, we will happily switch games. If we were about the numbers, we would stick to one game and one game only, because you build a following much faster staying on one game. But we do podcasts, we do gameplay, we do live charity events, we do football, we do gun games and stuff like that. So it's never been about numbers, but it's nice to see that even though it's not been about the numbers, it's been about us, the personality, the people behind the brand and what we want to do. It's still getting numbers. It's nice. It's nice. You always want the numbers, but if you don't aim for the numbers and you get the numbers as well, then yeah, it's super rewarding. So thank you once again. We've mentioned it a million times, but thank you for all your support over the last, do you know what? Not even 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, however long we've been going. I think is it like 3 years since Ice Cream Uploads started this November? Although the first 12 months were just kind of like...
No, it's got before.
Is it that? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's got before, because I've been at Jelly now for 3 years. 2018 was when I came over. So it was going for a year before that, because I remember watching it at my desk in work when I absolutely shouldn't have been doing. But Bluetooth earphones and mobile phone for the win. So it's got to be 4 years. It's got to be 4 years.
It could be. I don't know. Time flies.
2 years for the scoop.
Been in lockdown for so long, so I don't even know. Timeless says, I followed you on SoundCloud. Thank you very much, Timeless. You are one of the 30,000. We appreciate you. Are there even 10 people on Google Play, says Magic? I'd have no idea. Touche. Give me your number any day, says Lotus. No, look, get that number then. Hey. Mr. Gatekeeper TV's in the chat. Good morning. That sexy schedule asset that Lotus just asked to bring up on screen again, which I will do. There you go. Boom. This asset was designed by Mr. Gatekeeper TV. Thank you very much. So he's one of the reasons that I've mentioned it before every time he comes in. He's one of the reasons that everything looks so crisp and clean on our streams, is because we have people like Craig making everything look beautiful. So thank you very much, Craig. Where's the personality, says Badge? Touche. Touche. I can't help but notice you now have 2 PUBG crates on your radiator. That is epic. It's basically Russian stacking dolls. So that crate is what's inside that crate. But because I had the lurgy last week, I was using that crate and I just haven't put it back inside that crate. So that's why there's 2. So yeah, next week there'll be a little one next to it and then a little one. And they all just go inside each other. There you go. Mr. Phelps! Yes, gentlemen. How's things, dude? How are you doing? David says, Jack of all trades, master of all. Wait, that can't be right. Well, it seems to be that way right now. Anyway, I'm not going to keep talking because we did that yesterday, and it was exceptional. It was exceptional because we had a really good start to the stream yesterday. We were obviously back in the studio. We got to show off some new things. We got to talk to people. We had some ridiculous giftenings happening. We got to about halfway through a level 4 hype train just off the back of a conversation. We're going to leave all that today. We're just going to jump straight into the news because basically we're fed up with you guys supporting us so much that it takes as long as to finish the show. So we're going to get into the content. If you haven't seen it already, we've already shared what our lead story is going to be today, and it's quite a tasty one. Admittedly, we did go a little bit clickbait. With the story that we headlined with, we said, "Is Game Pass in trouble?" Dun, dun, dun. And it's not really clickbait, but it's just we basically asked the question that most people would ask off the back of that. That's the question that I would probably ask Bib after reading through the article. The title of which is Xbox Game Pass subscriber growth missed Microsoft's annual target. So despite Xbox Game Pass growing massively, hitting lofty heights and being the best deal in gaming, it's below target. So we said, is it in trouble? I mean, if something is below target, it usually is in trouble. So that's the question that we asked. So clickbait to get people in, but actually not clickbait. It's something that it's a question that we will ask and then we will run through. So do feel free to stick around for that with us. We will then jump into a bunch of other stories. We might not get through them all today because we have leftover stories from yesterday. So there is a lot of stories for us to jump through. We might have to move some to tomorrow or just drop some all together. Anyway, the second story comes back to an article that we had from Monday, and that is Dbrand. You may remember the story that Dbrand challenged Sony to come and sue us for making PS5 Dark Plates. Well, Sony did come in and threatened to sue them for making the Dark Plates. So Dbrand pulled those Dark Plates. However, Dbrand are now back with new faceplates for the PlayStations. Dark Plates version 2.0, just days after pulling the originals. So clearly they knew what they were doing when they announced that. They were clearly building up to this. Anyway, that is the follow-up story, and that was shared with us on Discord. I don't actually have the name of who shared that with us, but thank you very much for you guys for shaping our show with the news. Elsewhere, EA issues more than 30,000 bans to FIFA 22 players who played against Bibby because, you know, they absolutely they issued bans to 30,000 FIFA 22 players who took advantage of a FUT exploit, a FIFA Ultimate Team exploit. We'll then jump into news shared by Mr. T saying a decade later, Ubisoft has finally greenlit a new Splinter Cell. Sources claim that's big enough to be its own story, and that's like story number 4 in the show today. That's how much news has happened over the last few days. It's still not the end of the show, though. We then jump into the fact that idiot gamers send death threats to Blue Box over a game they haven't played yet. We've obviously spoken about this before. We were going to talk about it yesterday, but abandoned a real-time experience from Blue Box Games, rumoured to be Hideo Kojima related and all of that stuff. People haven't played it, and now they're sending death threats to the developer because the dicks, that's why. And then finally, if we have time, we'll jump into the fact that Destiny 2 will sell Year 5 dungeons separately from the Witch Queen and Season Passes. So the new dungeons are tied to the Witch Queen Deluxe Edition for now. So basically, Destiny is getting a bit of stick because stuff that they usually include in their passes, they've now split out and are charging people separately for it, making more money off their customers. Good, bad, we will go through. But for now, Bib.
Yes.
Xbox Game Pass could be in trouble. Okay, let's jump into this story first. It might not be, but that's just the angle that we want to look at, is it? Tom Ivan at VGC has the article that says, Xbox Game Pass subscriber growth missed Microsoft's annual target. The number of paying members increased by 37.5% during the company's last fiscal year. That's huge growth. But even still, Xbox Game Pass attracted fewer new subscribers last year than Microsoft had targeted. According to a financial document filed by Microsoft last week and spotted by Axios, the number of Game Pass subscribers grew by 37.48% during the 12 months ending on June the 30th, but the company had targeted an increase of 47.79%. In Microsoft's previous fiscal year, ending June the 30th, 2020, Xbox Game Pass subscribers grew 85.75%, outperforming the company's goal of a 71% increase. The subscriber growth target is one of several performance goals, although the only pure gaming one, tied to top Microsoft execs' stock compensation. For competitive reasons, Microsoft's filing reads, Targets and results are expressed in terms of year-over-year growth rather than actual subscriber numbers. Xbox Game Pass launched in June 2017 and has become central to Microsoft's gaming business, attracting over 18 million subscribers as of January 2021, according to the latest publicly announced figure. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. We don't need to go through the rest of the stuff. That is enough for us to get the idea. Xbox Game Pass, despite growing, despite being bigger, is actually over 10% down on the target projected growth. So it grew by 85% last year. Naturally, you can't maintain that level of growth. Xbox were hoping for a 47% growth, where it was actually 37%, so less than half in terms of the increase year on year. What are your thoughts, Bib?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things to this. I think the fact that most people was at home last year, that probably dusted off their Xbox Ones or their PCs, or it just got a brand new Xbox Series S or X, may have signed up to it for the first time or continued their subscription. Like, it may have lapsed and they've just rejoined it again. It doesn't say anywhere, as far as I'm aware. I was obviously reading along with you. It didn't mention in here about new subscribers. It says that for the target line, it says Xbox Game Pass attracted fewer new subscribers than last year, but then also stated in it that it had a target audience of 47.79, but it was actually 37.8. But it doesn't mention in that part where it was growth for what they projected, whether or not it was going to be new customers or whether it was just a customer base started to grow. So whether or not it's new or people continuing their subscription.
I mean, it does mention an increase, though, so that you'd feel like, because it mentions subscribers grew by 37%. So
Yeah.
that would be additional subscribers on top of whatever the number was before. We don't know what number that
Yeah.
was. We just know it grew by, whereas they wanted an increase of 47%. So that,
Yeah.
yeah. Did I miss that? I was filling in the discussing now. I don't know. Maybe I've just ballsed up what you were saying.
No,
Continue.
I was just saying that obviously when they've talked about new subscribers, but their projected 47.79, is that just new subscribers, or is that to take what they already had as a foundation and then build on top of that? Like, is that number all encompassing? I don't know. I don't know what the 37.48 is. Is that just new subscribers, or is that continuing subscribers like I am? Like, I'm a continued subscriber. I don't buy the yearly one. I buy monthly one because I never know when I'm not going to not play again. And this, I think, is what this comes down to. I think most people probably would do it monthly off of the basis that once they've completed the games on Game Pass that they deem to be worthwhile subscribing for, they'll just wait for they'll lapse it out and then wait for the next new game to come on, or the next first party title, or something worth subscribing for that they didn't want to part £40 for in the first place. And I think that's what this comes down to. Like, people have gone back to work now. They might not have as much time as they did during lockdown. They might have been on furlough, so they had 24 hours a day to kill because they couldn't leave the house. They could go shopping. That was it. There was no pubs open. So I think all of this plays a factor. And I think if we was to compare our situation to theirs as well, in terms of us streaming and the people who used to watch us during lockdown, we was getting like 40 to 50, at sometimes even 60 people watching us live every single morning when we was doing this show. That's because no one else, they didn't have anything better to do. We was lucky enough that we was able to work.
No, it's because it's world-class content. That's what it was.
Well, obviously. But yeah, I mean, obviously we was lucky enough to be able to work and do this at the same time, whereas some people didn't have the opportunity to be able to work and they were just getting their furlough pay. So all of this is a massive factor within how many people, what they forecasted. Like, they forecasted off the back of, oh my God, we've got this many people playing this content. What about if we're able to retain these? And there's so many different variables with this that I didn't think that projection to increase it by nearly 50%, I think, is a pipe dream for anything, especially when you just come off the back of a really good year anyway, financially, not in terms of the way that your company was maybe during COVID times and your staffing and stuff like that. But the people at home who had nothing else better to do would have been able to subscribe to this, regardless of whether or not they had an Xbox. They could do it on PC or a mobile. So it was a very good year for them. But to project 50% with all the variables, now we're starting to come out of lockdown and now they're starting to crunch numbers. Like, people have gone back to work like 5 months ago. That's a long time for people not to be able to subscribe, especially if it's at £10 a month. You're losing 50 quid there times that by how many people they projected to have this service in the first place. It's a lot of money that they've missed out on. And I say missed out on, they had that originally, but that's because no one else had anything better to do. And there was just, there was sat on money. Like people, I came out of COVID in a half decent position until I decided to have a child, and now I'm skint again. So it's just one of them things. Like projecting 50% growth on an already massive player base, it's always going to, once you reach the peak, there's always going to be the drop off. And especially when you haven't brought any new games out, like first party games for people to be able to subscribe to. No Forza, no Gears of War, no Halo. That is obviously going to change in the next 6 months, and people will end up resubscribing again. But whether or not they actually reach that 50% that there was intended for, I don't think that they're probably never going to reach that again.
There's quite a few points of that. Let me just point out the fact that Gary Clark said game passed. Game passed in the chat. Lol. I mean, I wouldn't say that they are at saturation, though. I would say that they have a long, long way to go. So, I mean, off the back of an 85% year, to drop that down to almost half that with 47%, I think I would see that as quite logical. That has probably been hampered by the fact that Halo did shift, because Halo would have been out in that 12 months, ending June 30th. That would have come out alongside the game, alongside the console. So I wouldn't have been surprised if that could account for a large drop of that 10%. A number of people probably think, okay, there's not that much on Game Pass for me to make me shift. And I'm talking about PlayStation players rather than Xbox players. I imagine a lot of Xbox players are going, fuck yeah, Game Pass. That's fucking exceptional, because it is. Yeah. But a lot of PlayStation players, like me, who don't have Xbox Game Pass, okay, well, I've got PUBG on my PlayStation, so I'll just continue playing it there. I mean, I could get Game Pass and get some things like Back 4 Blood and stuff like that, which is obviously a lot of people are probably doing that sort of stuff. But a lot of people are then probably going, yeah, that's another subscription though. Maybe I'll just miss Back 4 Blood, or maybe I'll get it on my PlayStation and play it where I am with my friends and stuff. When Halo comes out though, when there's no playing that on the PlayStation, then maybe that's when people go, actually, yeah. So that 10% drop is heavily affected by the lack of first party content. We've all said that. Nobody's saying it as any sort of like
a stick to beat them with.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like
Jordan just said it. Fucking hell, the biggest Xbox fan I've ever known in my life, and he said it in the chat.
I mean, it's not like an epiphany that we've just had. Everyone knows that Xbox doesn't have the games. But it is interesting to see. Oh, it's exciting. Not even the word interesting. I use that word a lot, but it's exciting to think of what Xbox could do if they can manage 80% growth and then almost 40% growth year on year. Yes, it's below target. But imagine what they can do when they actually have stuff to properly sell. Then that's when it does get a little bit spicy. Yeah. So yes, Xbox Game Pass is in trouble because it's below target, but it's still massively successful and growing very well. So is it in trouble? Probably not. Probably not. They probably had some leeways. If it was more like 10% growth, yeah, then maybe it would be. 10% down is something that can easily be managed, particularly with the uncertainties that we've had over the last 18 months. Let me jump back up through the comments though, because I did see something that I needed to read out. This is very much on subject. This is Mr. Hulkamania says, I'm feet up by the pool, 25 degrees in Greece, and listening to you two legends. Life is good. Jammy
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, thanks. Not Jammy Kit. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. The new Dbrand plates definitely make the PS5 look like a router, sadly. Yeah. Yeah.
Already.
Yeah. Vern says, use Sony for clout. Yeah. We'll jump into that one next. But last quarter, name me a massive game that was on Game Pass, says Timeless. Growth will be bigger in quarter 4 with Back 4 Blood and Halo. 100%, you've nailed it, Timeless, there. Like, Game Pass has had 40% growth nearly, 37.48% growth. Yes, it's down on the 47.79 that they were hoping for. And Xbox hasn't really done anything wrong. They must have just crunched the numbers wrong there. Or when those stats were crunched, that did factor in the likes of a Halo or something like that. And that not being there, like I say, could amount for the 10%. But even still, they've still managed massive growth without anything really to sell. The big selling points were the fact that you could get stuff cheaper on Xbox. So Back 4 Blood, yeah, you don't have to buy it. It's within Game Pass. Oh, nice. MLB The Show, yeah, you get that within Game Pass. You don't have to buy it. Oh, nice. And there was a couple of others as well. But other than that doesn't have the biggest pull right now. A lot of people would be like, okay, well, I'll get Game Pass for that. But that only works if you can get a Series X or a Series S. A lot of people can't get that. So that, I'll just get Back 4 Blood on the PlayStation then, because I can't play it on Game Pass if I don't have the next console. So that is also a factor there, that they don't have any games, first-party games. Their major first-party game that was due to be released in this period didn't release and will be releasing in the next couple of months. And the consoles that they want to sell Game Pass on aren't available either. So that's three major things there, but still had a 37.48% growth. Below target, but still massive, so exceptional. I mean, they're probably not worried about that at all. So to answer our question, is Game Pass in trouble? Nah. I mean, maybe, but not for that. Game Pass may be in trouble because we've questioned its sustainability. Being 10% down on something that may be not sustainable is probably a little bit more worrying. But in terms of the overall picture, I don't think they're worried just yet. I wouldn't be if I were them. Yeah. Mr. Phelps says Game Pass has to be successful. How can Xbox go? Oh, it's gone. How can Xbox go back to a normal price structure? Bar FIFA and Battlefield. I've no desire to buy any game outside Game Pass, and also it has me really watching what I can buy on the PS5. Deathloop is a perfect example. Bought it, got bored, and now I have buyer's remorse knowing it's on Game Pass next year. I mean, there is actually, we've had a conversation about it previously in terms of when we played Insurgency Sandstorm. That was the first time I properly noticed it in our sphere, that a lot of people that were interested in buying Insurgency Sandstorm for the PlayStation or were looking at it, I'd gone, do you know what? I'm just gonna not bother because it's free on Game Pass. Why would I buy it? Why do I, when everyone else can try it on Game Pass for free? Actually, no, I'm rewinding. I've completely balls that up. People that would be buying it and playing it weren't buying it because it wasn't free on Game Pass. That's the angle I meant to actually say. So a lot of people that we would have played with that probably would have opted into it have been like, well, I've got games that are just as good, if not better, or of a equal caliber rather than better on Game Pass anyway. Too many for me to choose from. Why would I spend 45 quid on Insurgency Sandstorm? It's a really good game. It is a really good game. But when you don't have all the money in the world, obviously you've got to be careful with the resources. Why would you spend 45 quid on a shooter when you can get the shooter within the 10 quid that you've already spent? So it is good, and it's also damaging. You can see how it changes people's perception. Like people that would happily purchase Insurgency now wouldn't because it's not on Game Pass. So that's great for Xbox, not so much for the developers in that sort of sense. But that's the whole ecosystem of Game Pass that still needs to mature. How does that balance where it's sustainable? And when sustainable, it's not just financially for Xbox, it's for everyone else as well, developers and everyone and gamers. Jordan says it's gone. Jordan says it was Jordan that made it disappear as well. Will grow when they start hitting first-party exclusive on the service. They have had no big first-party on there since the console launched. Will change with Forza and Halo, but depends if they keep it up. Also, Microsoft just aren't producing enough Series X's. More retailers are refusing to stock Series X's anymore because they're impossible to get. PS5s are now restocked every week. It's been 3 weeks since the last Xbox drop, and before that, it was 4 weeks. I mean, that's quite interesting, though, if you think about it. Like, Xbox announced their console about 7 months before PlayStation did. So they'd shown it. They could have started the production massively on that. PlayStation were quite slow to the party in that sort of sense. You'd have thought Xbox would be the one rolling out consoles every week there. So is that the whole chip situation? Obviously, most of the chips are manufactured in Asia. Does Sony, being an Asian company originally, does that have more sway in terms of purchasing power over there so they can buy the chips? I mean, that's me just throwing ideas out. I don't know why, but I've seen that story a few times. You mentioned it about Japan before as well, Jordan. Having a baby is nothing to do with COVID, or is it, baby?
That's becoming in trouble.
Gaggard asking all the important questions this morning. Mr. Garrett Clark is lurking in the chat. Thank you very much, Gary. Insurgency is on Game Pass. No, I got there eventually. Brilliant game. Love playing it recently. Worst thing I see is gonna wait for it to come to Game Pass. It's happening loads now, and Microsoft created that mindset that if you wait, it might come to Game Pass. To be fair, that's not just a Microsoft thing, though. That's just general consumer behaviour. That's always been in games. I'm gonna wait for it to come to PlayStation Platinum. I'm gonna wait for it to drop down to 20 quid. I'm gonna wait for it to come in the sales. I'm gonna wait because it might come onto PS Plus eventually. That sort of stuff has always been there, but because a sale is not something you can commit to, PS Platinum was always long term. That was when a game had its heyday, and we live in a time when content is live. If you miss it, you miss it. So that stuff doesn't apply as much. So Game Pass being live right now, up to the minute with fresh release games, it does have more of an impact though than any of those other ones do, because a sale might not happen. It coming to PS Plus might happen, might not happen, but it's probably a while away. Game Pass is launch day content right now, so yeah, it definitely does have an impact. Sony bought millions of chips, Microsoft didn't. Yeah, it's just a wonder of the why though, or the how. Sony did buy millions of chips, but Sony aren't the only ones after those chips. Sony are, Nvidia are, AMD are, Intel are, Apple are, Microsoft are. How have Sony, who announced their console 7 months after, bought millions more chips than Microsoft? Is that because of their contacts? Were they already buying those chips even though they announced the PS5s and stuff? There's conversations last week, news articles last week about, like, was it no, maybe it was Apple. I think Apple are going to start manufacturing their own chips just so that you can get past the queues or something like that. Which I mean, it's like 200 IQ, but also if you control the whole production line, that's vertical integration. You monopolize the price. Microsoft have a bigger chipset, so longer to make. I think someone put up that production in factories was 60 to 70% PS5 and 30% Xbox Series. So basically what you're saying is PlayStation has been confirmed at being better. Nice one. Fully on board with you saying that. I mean, I didn't expect it from you, but okay. It didn't mean that, by the way. Endgame for Game Pass is to replace those expensive third-party day ones with first-party day ones. Nintendo is greater than, not even close in my book. Bibby Kappa, yeah! How good is that Bibby Kappa as well? I posted that Bibby Kappa in I think it was Hamish's stream this morning. I don't think he realised it was Bibby. He just thought it was Kappa with a beard. He was like, yes, it's got a beard on it. And it says Apple already are manufacturing their own M1 chips last year, announced the new M1 Max chips, which is more powerful than PS5. I mean, that's kind of all right, but yeah, if it's more powerful, then I'm not bothered. But the PS5 gets announced, and there's already a more powerful chip 2 days later. It's just a matter of what Apple do with that. If it's put into a smartphone, then that's not necessarily the gaming device for a lot of people. So great, powerful chips, but I'm not bothered. Into an app, an iMac. Yeah, but it doesn't work like a console does. So yeah. Also playing games on Apple systems. Yikes! Or it used to be anyway. Not as much anymore, but still kind of is. But do you know what? If you did have an Apple product, you could probably, tedious link by the way, you could probably skin that with a Dbrand case. Which you could also do with a PS5, funnily enough. Even though... told you it was tedious. Even though Dbrand looked to have pulled out of the fight with PlayStation, despite offering them out, come sue us if you want. We're going to make the PS5 faceplates that you've told everyone else they can't. Well, the fight is back on. So there we go. Jay Peters at The Verge. Dbrand reveals new PS5 Dark Plates days after pulling the originals. Enix!
Here we go. Are you ready? Yeet tie eat yeet yeet tie eat yeet tie eat yeet tie eat.
If anyone's never met Enix before, that's exactly how he sounds. Enix, thank you for 1.5 years of subscriptions on the channel, dropping the Prime. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Do you know, that takes us back up to 155. We'd lost one overnight, but we're now back up to 155. That is the most, once again, that is the most subscribers that we have ever had on our channel. Just in case you didn't know, we're only 20 subscribers. I'm only joking. Calm down. So yeah, thank you very much, Jordan. Appreciate it. Back into the news though. Jay Peters at The Verge says Dbrand reveals new PS5 Dark Plates days after pulling the originals. They have a brand new design. So Dbrand has revealed a brand new design for its PS5 Dark Plates just days after yanking the originals from sale. If you weren't familiar with the original Dark Plates, they looked exactly like the side shells of a PS5. But instead of being white, they were matte black. In its marketing of the first version, the company baited Sony to go ahead, sue us, And Sony, unsurprisingly, followed up with a legal threat. Shockingly, just days after making a big public stink about Sony forcing it to pull the old version, Dbrand is already ready with a new design. The company says they've been in development since September, but conveniently would not tell us when Sony sent the cease and desist to begin with. There we go. Let's just stop for a second. They've never mentioned when that cease and desist was sent. Conveniently, they announced that the cease and desist was sent on Monday, and then on Wednesday, well, Tuesday it was actually. So suddenly we've got different things. It's almost like they've had this, created a different product, and used it to sell something else.
Marketing 101.
Yep. So Dark Plates 2.0 look a little different from the original model. Those watching on the video services, either the stream or on YouTube, can see their mock-ups on screen. There's a rotating one just above, and then there's ones further down the page that we will scroll down to. So Dark Plates 2.0 look a little different than the original model. While they're still attached to the sides of the PS5, the new Dark Plates are more rounded instead of having quite as much of the sharp, popped collar look that's closely associated with Sony's console. They also now have a prominent vent right next to the PS5's fan, should I say. The new Dark Plates come in 3 colours: matte black, a retro grey, and white. But is the new design enough of a difference to avoid Sony's ire? Dbrand claims so, even going as far as to bold some of the text for us. By creating a... When it's bold, I'm going to emphasize it, just so you can tell. By creating a brand new design, there you go, nice. Dark Plates 2.0 successfully closes the loop on this dispute and neutralizes any future infringement claims from Sony. Basically, it's different. However, in the original cease and desist letter, Sony threatens to initiate legal action unless Dbrand does 3 things. 1, promptly and permanently cease and take down all marketing and promotion for and cease all sales worldwide of faceplates featuring the product configuration of SI's PS5 faceplates or any similar product configuration, including, without limitation, all faceplates currently on for sale at dbrand.com. Promptly and permanently cease down all marketing and promotion. Okay, so basically... anything that could fit on a PS5, get rid of that. Any marketing for stuff that would fit on a PS5, get rid of that. And take down any of the PlayStation marks. Basically, do nothing that would work with a PlayStation or PS5. Even though it looks different and it has a vent and everything, PlayStation didn't want anything that could be used with a PS5. Dbrand wouldn't quite go that far, saying the company is effectively complying with items 2 and 3. The company also raises its own version of the question: is Sony still going to sue you, assholes? And this is their response. The answer? Probably. The difference this time is that we've created an original design for which they have no basis to allege infringement. If they want to try, they'd better be ready to pay our legal fees. The new Dark Plates will cost $59 during pre-orders and $69 when they're available on a regular basis. Dbrand says the first batch will ship in November and stock will go out in monthly waves after. And then there's a correction. The new Dark Plates come in 3 colours, not 2. Okay, we've already covered that bit. Nice. So... if you want a black PS5, Dbrand has you covered. If you want a retro grey PS5, Dbrand has you covered. If you want a white PS5 that's got a matte finish and an air vent, Dbrand has you covered. In absolutely 100%, not completely planned by using the cease and desist letter just at the start of this week to launch the new content. Interesting. Is that enough to get away with being sued? They think it probably isn't. What are your thoughts, Bib?
I mean, they've made it look uglier. Like, was it Gary that said in the chat this morning, they made it look like a router? Fully on board with that. The fact that they're stuck to air holes.
It was Mr. Phelps.
Phelps. Sorry. Yeah, the fact that they're put to air. What is that? It's not fans, is it? Because
Vents.
there's no fan in it. Vents. Fucking hell. Air holes. They put 2 air holes on the side.
Like nostrils? They've got nostrils.
They've got 2 nostrils on the side. Yeah, I mean the way if anyone's not read, everyone needs to go and read the Reddit post, because they literally very sarcastically, very tongue in cheek have just gone in on Sony on this. They mentioned that their plates now, because I don't know if when the PlayStation first came out, the PlayStation 5, shall we say, not the original one, people was getting the microscopes out, weren't they, looking around the controllers and on the side plates and stuff like that. And it's very microscopic, like triangles, circles, squares, and stuff like that. They'd obviously put that on their plates as well, but changed it. So to remove all copyright infringement, they've just obviously gone with something quite plain, just black color with air holes on the side of it.
Just because you've just said that, Gagad has clearly typed wrong in the chat because he says, I can see 2 air holes on my screen. That's not what you meant. I don't think you meant that. I think you meant something else. Anyway, back to you, Bib. You massive air hole.
Yeah, so blowing more hot air. I think they're probably going to get away with this. Again, they've made it uglier than it actually was, but they're just using their own marketing techniques against Sony at this point, because obviously Sony are the ones that want to try and sue them, and they've just kind of hit back and been the aggressor. Like Sony haven't. I don't think the way that I see this from an outside point, I don't think Sony has been aggressive on this at all. I think Dbrand being the little brother poking the bear, just poking him, and then eventually, when Sony bites back, the Dbrand are screaming "Mum." Do you know what I mean? Yeah, they're just screaming "Mum," and then hoping that something else comes about it, and then trying to grass up the older brother for hitting them, even though it was the antagonist, it was the little brother antagonizing the big brother. Like that's the vibe that I'm getting from this, and it's kind of like they've just gone the opposite direction. Now they're going to actually fuck that. We're not going to go and try and get away with it for a little bit. We've got all the interest on us at this moment in time. Here's our brand new product. You can go out and buy it, and people will go out and buy this. Like I've had a look on the internet, and you can find face plates for like £45 that are, I don't want to say first party, but you can buy Spider-Man ones, you can buy Batman ones, and things like that. The Last of Us plates. They're out there for 45 quid.
Spider-Man and Buttman, obviously.
Yes, for copyright reasons. So there are alternatives available out there, and people will just buy this for the sake of being Team Dbrand. So, yeah, I mean, they're doing market in their own way. I mean, it's very ballsy. It's very. This is the definition of edgy. It's not just bad takes to be edgy. This is being edgy to try and grow your audience and drive sales. This is how being edgy is done correctly, if that's the mentality that you want to go with. And I think they're going to do it very successfully. I think they are actually going to make a lot of money out of this.
Yeah, I think I can see. I mean, it's Marmite marketing in terms of you either love it or you hate it sort of thing. Dbrand, you either like the fact that they've got a little bit of ego and edginess in their content. I mean, they were calling their followers and commenters all sorts of names on that Reddit post. Anyone that was like commenting saying you're going to get sued by Sony for this, they were like, "Oh, yeah, you armchair legalists," and that was the nicest thing they said. Everything after that was offensive, but that's their brand positioning. It's meant to be like that. And it clearly works for them. They've got like almost 2 million followers just on Twitter alone, and that's for a company that makes skins for phones and consoles. 2 million followers. These massive global brands that don't have 2 million followers. So they're clearly doing it very well. I genuinely, though, don't see... I see Sony going for them, but I don't see Sony winning that fight. I mean, unless there's some intricacies, unless they can find precedents, making a bit of plastic for an aftermarket customization has been present and has precedence in smartphones, in consoles, in controllers, in whatever. Numerous devices. You can find a case to put on your thing that isn't made by the manufacturer and doesn't have an official license to do so. And I can see Dbrand getting away with this. Sony's argument is that the shape of the PS5 is so distinct that it shouldn't... It's that's part of the brand. But the shape of a Nokia 3310 is not the shape of any other phone out there. I mean, similar in the fact it's a phone, but not the same. So, I mean, surely, like, if that's the case, router manufacturers can go after Sony for copying their style with the PS5. That's just literally, you get the discless PS5, that is 100% an old school Netgear router. 100%, that's it. Let's take Sony to court. So I can't see Sony winning Dbrand if they do push them. With that, which is why, I mean, Dbrand have been a bit ballsy, and everyone was like, "Oh, Dbrand's been done. Oh, they've been taken back." But Dbrand being taken back was just a marketing move because they knew they had this up their sleeve that they were going to announce 2 days later. So they let the media coverage, they let it simmer, and just as that has died down, and everyone had offered their armchair legal stuff like we did, they went, "Actually, we've actually got something else. So yeah, fuck it, bring it, let's go, boys," and then just left it at that sort of point. So. Antagonistic, ego-filled marketing, but I think Dbrand will win this if this goes to court. I genuinely do. I don't think it will go to court. I think PlayStation might be now going, okay, maybe, and then it'll sell. Something will sell somewhere or whatever. Dbrand will promise to do a special edition or promise to not do certain things, and then they'll just call it quits or whatever. We won't see those conversations though, but it'll happen. Let's jump back through the comments though. Where do we get to? Well, there's Enix's subscription. Yeet, ready, yeet, 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 yeet. I'm not going to read that out, but thank you very much for 18 months, Enix. You beautiful man. Ads. It still feels weird seeing people use our emotes, like the Twitch emotes, but with our faces. Ads uses them all the time now. It's got the not like this emote, the seems good emote, and the low ones already in quick succession in the chat. I did say Sony would make their own. You did months ago. Timeless says a collaboration between Sony and them to promo new items. Exactly. I think that kind of thing could happen. I wouldn't be surprised if we do get an official Sony Dbrand crossover, because we've seen it just this last week. Among Us and Fortnite started out at fisticuffs. Those like brand disagreements more often than not lead to brand partnerships. If brands have a disagreement, both brands often come out of it looking a bit shitty. Fortnite looks shit because they've stolen from Among Us. Among Us looks shit because they're pissing and moaning about Fortnite. Even though they're fully right to it, nobody really looks good off the back of that. Oh, should we do something together because we're the best friends? High five? Yes, we should. High five. And then obviously there we go. I wouldn't be surprised if Sony and Dbrand start to do something. I mean, maybe not, because Sony have been quite coy of what they're actually planning to do, and quite crap at making accessories like they were for the entire last generation when you compare them to Xbox, who did all of the customizations. But maybe that's it. Sony did make a Razer Raiju controller. Sony did make a Nacon Revolution controller. We didn't get a PlayStation Elite controller like we got an Xbox Elite. They gave that to other people to make. Maybe Sony does that with Dbrand, because if they were making the faceplates, surely they'd have been out by now, right? You never know. Price of a game for a bit of shiny plastic, says Ads. Exactly. Well, matte plastic, actually. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I'll just keep my mine behind the TV. That way I don't see it's not black. or just leave it there for long enough and don't clean it. And it's kind of, you've got the retro grey. Ta-da!
You can colour it in with a felt tip or a Sharpie. So
yeah, there you go.
If you want to do that,
just get one of the I'm saying it. I was going to get one of the skins, one of the vinyl print things that you can put on them, but I would balls that up. So
they're only like a tenner, aren't they? I tried to do that with my Xbox 360. It didn't go very well.
I got a hookup from Mr. Vern for my PS4 Pro. Didn't go very well. I did tell him though. I said, look, I'm going to try and put this on the PlayStation. If you get pictures of it, then you know it's gone well. If you don't, then... and let's just say I never sent him any pictures. So
amazing.
So I mean, it probably was me just being daft. But then again, I'm the kind of person that has the Ice Cream Uploads logo on the side of the PC, not realizing that you only get one chance to stick it on. So there's a massive air bubble in the middle of it. Like, fuck, I didn't realize. I thought I could reposition it. There you go.
I'm the same with phone screens. You know, when you put that like tempered glass over it, I always get an air bubble. I'm fucking shit at that stuff.
I've got one somewhere on my screen that's been there since I put it on. I thought, well, I'm going to ruin it at some point, so I might as well just leave it. Good morning, Candy Bear. Hey, how are you doing? David says that little brother description sounds familiar. Shut it, David. We will have less of that. Thank you very much, but also pretty accurate. Not the best. You're not feeling the best. What's up? Oh, actually, I think we did see that last night. Just flicking the channels, me and Mrs. Danny Day 83, who's not been in the chat today, how dare she, was flicking through the channels, and we did tune in for a little bit last night, although it was on the TV, so I couldn't jump in the chat. And I did see the stream title saying something like not feeling well or something, so hopefully you feel better.
Enix, that's going around.
Yeah, I mean, I ditched mine, so I've thrown it at you through the screen. Take it. Enix says they probably changed the way it hooks onto the sides, and obviously the new vent to get around it. Exactly. I mean, the hooks, maybe not even that, just changing the shape, getting rid of the poppy collar, not Usher's style, and adding a vent. It's different. It's different texture. No symbols on the inside. Different collar, different shape. It's different. It's a different product. It's simple as that. In the eyes of the law, that is a different product. Sony, for me, are pissing me off with the design choices, to be honest. Love the system, and the pad this time round is better than the Xbox Series X, and I use my Xbox more currently, but Sony need to make faceplates with games, etc. if they're going to get shitty about non-official stuff. They can't chase all third-party accessory makers. I have an unofficial charger for my PS5, and it's miles better than the Sony-made one. Seems they're picking their fights to me. Do you know why? This is where I was looking at the chat to see if I had a donation thingy recently. Do you know why? Yeah, can't find it. We did have one. There we go. I'll tell you why. Here comes the money. Here comes the money. That's why Sony are doing it, because it's all about the cash. And I agree that, I mean, I don't mind the PS5. I actually quite like it. It's grown on me. It fits nicely with my room here. It doesn't fit nicely with my living room, which is a bit different. And I understand that will apply to most people. So I fully get that. What were you chuckling at?
Crocodile, Dark Plates.
There you go. That's it. Just call it dog.
That's stick with me, that.
But no, I get it. Like, I get the dissatisfaction. I actually really like the PS5. I've got the controller mount there. It all looks really nice in my room in this setup. It's kind of a black and white color scheme mix. It works really, really well. But this is a stream setup that's full of RGB. Most people's living rooms don't look like this. So I fully understand the need for changing it, and the lack of support from Sony in that sort of sense. It's exactly the opposite to what Sony were like in the last generation. Sony in the last generation, their motto was for the players. This is for the players. Everything here is for you. And now it's like, everything we do, you can have. Our things you can use. And it's like, oh, okay, it's a little bit different. It's close, but it's also very, very different. Daddy, what's a PS5? It's one of those things that Gray buys in bulk and sells for 1 penny profit. My consoles are the only thing I dust in my house. Just get a huge black sticker. Easy. There you go. Vern says, next time I'll do the application for you. Nice. There you go. I'll just next time. That's it. I'll take my consoles into the studio. You can just pop into the studio. Job's a good one. Result. We'll have a live stream. Vern,
How to apply?
Yeah. How to not be like Graham. There you go. Ta-da. Candy used to be PlayStation, and she saw the light. See, I'm the same but different. I used to be Xbox, and then I saw the light. Although I still have my Xbox. It's what I use to watch Twitch on the TV. Nice. There she is, Daddy Day 83. Ad says, charge them 50 quid, Vern. They're rich now with their 155 subs. I mean, Bibby's Lambos don't pay for themselves. I don't see this money.
True that.
I mean, he says, sat in a room full of neon lights and all sorts of things all over it. I don't get any of that money. Bibby gets it all. To be fair, the valuable stuff in this room, Elgato's given me. So, GG's, boys. Nice. Oh, yeah, we'd have to agree to an installation fee. Goddamn right. Shano Mac music, nice. That's the Dono music. Obviously, we don't push for donos, so we don't hear it very often, which is why I had to scroll back through the feed to see it. So whenever we get donos, we get the Shano Mac music playing. I wonder if Sony will go down the DIY Perks YouTube channel, because he made his own panels out of brass, and it looks pretty good to me. I imagine that's probably not great for airflow. Just a big lump of metal wrapped around your console. Okay, that's going to blow up. Nice. Sounds like content. Tam says, I don't discriminate. I'm both. Yeah, same. PC, consoles. Got all the consoles. This is what it looks like. Okay, let me have a look. Brass PS5. That actually looks fucking badass, though, to be fair. I mean, 100% that is going to just create fire. Like, look how cool that looks. A brass PS5.
God, yeah.
Woo. That's pretty sexy. I mean, imagine a PS5 is quite heavy anyway. Imagine picking that up.
Need a forklift.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. It does look good. Well, actually, something to mention on the subject of donations and that sort of stuff. We've never really bothered with it before because we don't push really for subs or bits or donos and stuff. But obviously, you can get extra remote slots for bit donations. We are filling those up. So either today or tomorrow, we should have 3 extra remotes on the channel for people that donate bits. If you don't want to donate, don't worry about them. It's fine. But if you do want to donate, then you will get some bits back for that. Also, those that do drop bits, there is a bit cheer mode, which is basically something that changes depending on the number of bits that someone will cheer. That has already been added to the site. So if anyone drops different levels of bits, you will get an increasing scale of ice cream. So basically, you guys unlocking everything with all of your subs and stuff, it's not going to notice. We've already added a bunch of new emotes. We've got more emotes to come. We've added cheer emotes, and we'll also be adding bit emote stuff. So once again, thank you very much for all the support. We're putting bits back into the channel, so hopefully you guys can see it. Thank you very much. No gym membership needed for that sort of thing. Yeah, like, what are you doing? I'm just playing on my PlayStation. Get to the job out. Where are you? Heat conductor. The whole thing. West spamming the emotes. You love to see. Look at all those emotes. Look at them. Follower emotes. can you see the lull and the lol? So we had the lull emote, which is my play on the Twitch one. But in doing that, our designer thought that my face looked like J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man. So if you're in our channel, you can use IceUpLol in the chat. Whether you can be a follower, you don't even need to be a subscriber for that. So everyone gets my face on J. Jonah Jameson for the lol. Not that one, not that one. It's this one. Boom. So lol versus lol. There's me, J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man. There you go. Nice. Anyway, next bit of news. Oh, no, that's the DIY brass console. So Dbrand reveals new Dark Plates just after pulling the originals. Just days. Oh, we've got some baby pogs in the chat as well.
Yeah.
And some angry Enixers. You love to see it. Spam your emotes. Go on. While I find the news story, everyone just spam your favourite emotes. Drop it in. Actually, on that, do spam your favourite emotes. Whatever emotes you have, whichever one is your favourite, spam some emotes, because we do have space for 4, maybe 5 more emotes that we need to put in. So feel free to spam. We need, yeah, exactly. Perfect phrasing. Inspiration required. Do you know what's not required though? Cheating. That's tedious link.
Another great link.
Josh Coulson at the Gamer. West's love eggs are in the chat. I can't concentrate now. Josh Coulson at the Gamer has this article. EA issues more than 30,000 bans to FIFA 22 players who took advantage of a foot exploit. EA has banned more than 30,000 FIFA 22 players for taking advantage of a foot exploit that let them leave matches without suffering a loss. EA has banned more than 30,000. Okay, my God, that's the same thing 3 times in a row. God. I'll skip that first bit. FIFA 22 has been on the market for almost 3 weeks at this point, which probably means its players have already participated in more than 1 billion matches. That's based on the reveal by EA that 460 million matches had been played less than a week after the game had launched. What's unclear is whether that total includes matches that ended prematurely. FIFA players will know what matches ending before a full 90 minutes has been played. We'll know matches ending before 90 minutes is commonplace, whether it be due to a connection dropping out or someone rage quitting after conceding 4 goals on the bounce. That usually results in whoever ended the match suffering an even steeper loss than they would have had they stuck around. However, a lot of players recently discovered that quitting a match in FUT Champs meant that they didn't suffer a loss at all. EA revealed via its FIFA Direct Communication Twitter account that it had resolved the issue. It added that it was also in the process of identifying those who took advantage of it before it had been fixed. Fast forward 4 days, and not only has EA identified more than 30,000 people who quit FUT Champions matches without suffering a loss, but it has also hit them all with 7 days bans from playing FIFA 22 online. Quote, we have identified over 30,000 active accounts that exploited this issue consistently have suspended them from FIFA 22 online for 7 days, the tweet reads. That means those bans will miss out on taking part in this week's FUT Champions finals. The use of the word consistently is key here. If you rage quit a match or your connection dropped out during a FUT Champions match, the ban shouldn't apply to you. Only those who clearly saw what was happening and used it in their favour. The only issue now is the length of the ban. While the tweet clearly states it will last for 7 days, a handful of players in the replies claim they've been slapped with a 1,000-day ban from playing FIFA 22 online. Yeah, you can't play FIFA 22 for the next 3 years. GG's, boys. If enforced, that will leave them without the ability to play online matches until FIFA 24, if the series is even called FIFA at that point. I see where you're going with a nice segue there. I appreciate that. Nice. So, do you know what? I'm not going to ask too much from this, other than if you cheat, you get a ban. Seems pretty forward. Does that make sense to you, or have you got any contrasting opinions on that, Bib?
Ish. I think 7 days is a bit tame. I also think that 1,000 days is also a bit too harsh.
So Bibby only wants 1 year of ban, not 3.
I think 7 days is acceptable, because 7 days for these people who play the game religiously, who will play probably 15 to 20 to 25 games a day. That's a lot of days that they aren't going to be playing this game, which obviously means that they aren't going to qualify for this weekend's FUT Champs, which is what people play Ultimate Team for. Like they want to be able to get to the FUT Champs at the weekend to try and get all the rewards and stuff. So that's the whole point of playing FUT. So 7 days is it will piss a lot of people off who main this game and they don't play anything else. However, I think them only missing 1 FUT Champs is a bit shit. I mean, I don't really like to It just sounds like fucking bullying at this point.
Craig
But I
David did a
don't-
lot in 7 days, says Vern in
Yeah,
the chat.
very good point.
I mean, he met a
Very
girl on
good point.
Monday. He took her for... Yeah,
Yeah.
you get the idea. You get the idea.
I think missing 1 foot champs is a bit shit. I think it should be more than that. I think 30-day ban. I think again that's a little bit excessive, but they've got to miss at least 2. Like these people knew what they were doing. It's not as if it was a glitch that they stumbled upon. Like if 30,000 people have done this, that is you need to set a precedent here. Like missing 1 foot champs that can't just be it.
I mean, I don't play foot champs, so maybe my opinion's less valid. I don't play FIFA, so maybe my opinion's even more less valid. But I think 30,000 people, that's a lot of people. I mean, some of these will probably be cheap merchants that will take everything.
Yeah.
Some of these have probably just been caught up in it and could be kids that have just been set a shit example. So in my opinion, a 7-day ban at the start of a game's life cycle could be enough of a slap on the wrist to set a lot of those on the straight and narrow. However, I would have that as very much a last chance. You do it again? Okay, well, that's going to be a full month ban. That's going to be 1/12 of the entire annual season. But then again, it depends on who it is. Like I say, I don't know the attitudes towards foot champs, who plays that, how many people, what the reasonings is for it, and what the rewards you get from it, and whether it's a good risk versus reward. People might do it again because it's worth the risk, kind of thing. So yeah, don't know.
Do you know what? I would agree with you on that, but I know that the obviously because I have been playing FIFA, I'm not necessarily fully committed into the community to know everything that's going on around that, but I follow enough people to get an idea of what the rumblings are that's happening on there. And I'd love to say that this was just kids. And again, this sounds ridiculous coming from a 30-year-old man. When I say kids, I don't necessarily just mean the 10 to 15-year-olds. I genuinely mean like late teens, early 20s at this point. But I know for a fact that this isn't just kids. This is people who would have been fighting for that top tier rewards, that would have been fighting for the top 100 the last weekend, and they cannot have anything less than a perfect record. And that's why they would have done it, because people are finding out that the what you could complete foot champs and have a perfect record and have this glitch that doesn't come up on your record. If it was less than 1,000 people, I would absolutely agree with you. 7 days and 1 foot champs, absolutely fine. But 30,000 people and people who I know that have been trying to fight and are regularly in the top 100, 200, those are the people that are doing it. This is where the example needs to come in. And Jordan's mentioned it there.
See, I go the other way. Like, if it was less than 1,000 people, I think, okay, well, that's some people that know an exploit and are using that for their benefit. Whereas if it's like 30,000 people, that's something it's like it's too many people to try to make an example of at that sort of point for something that's ultimately EA's issue that's then being exploited. At that sort of sense, so early in the game, first sort of thing, I kind of feel that's where I would go softer. Not soft, because fuck that shit. You still cheats, still deserve a full week off the game. But yeah, for that, 30,000 people start the game, know what they're doing, no doubt a good chunk of them. A bunch of them are probably just thinking, well, everyone's doing it, you can get away with it, so yeah, nice one. And then a lot of them are probably checking their email or trying to go online and going, oh shit, fuck, I didn't realise that it was that kind of thing. So a lot of them are probably realising and will change their ways, kind of thing. But yeah.
I don't think they will until another glitch comes in. I don't think people don't like to lose, regardless of whether or not you're a pro player or you are the average Joe. Like, losing, obviously, is part of the game. It genuinely is part of the FIFA game if you lose. Apparently, Lewis was telling me yesterday that even if you lose all of your foot champs games this year, like every single weekend, if you lose them all, you still get the same rewards as if you won 14 games last year. So I don't understand why the rewards are so good this year in foot champs, and whether that's to get people in. But I think from someone that's looked after competitions in the past, and integrity is everything when it comes to fair play. 2 weeks, it should be an absolute minimum, mate. And I don't care whether or not it was 20,000, 30,000. They've exploited something that's in the game. And I mean, it's FIFA's fault on EA's fault for obviously not having
you can tell Bibby's being an admin that's been around cheats, because Bibby instantly assumes they're all like malicious cheaters that are all there for their rewards. They've played it last year. They're all adults. They're not kids. They all deserve 2 weeks to a month to a year to 6. Do you not ban them from life?
Yeah, the IP ban. Fuck the rest of them that are playing it in the house. Just get rid of them all. But no, genuinely, like if they've done it, if they've gone into a game more than once and been able to do this for 5 or 6, I'd said it there. 5 people do it to him last weekend. Take the L, you dosser. Absolutely. If that person has done it more than one time, they know what they're doing. They think they can just get away with it. Fuck them. Get them out. 2-week minimum.
It's the bigger picture though. They know what they're doing, like clearly in terms of if they've done it multiple times. I mean, that's 5 different people doing it to ours. That could have been 5 people doing it once, but that's neither here nor there. They're doing it because they know that they're avoiding the loss, but it's the context of why. Is it just like, I mean, we don't know the numbers. That could be all 30-year-old men that are all salty as fuck because they've spent shitloads more money than they should have done. They can't afford to pay the rent because, well, or it could just be an 8-year-old kid that's just gone, well, people keep doing it to me, so I'll do it to them. And that's the thing for me. Such a
equality.
From a marketing perspective, you need to do something. So they've done it. They've banned 30,000 people for a week. But at the start of a new game, from a marketing perspective, to just go, that's it. You're not playing for a month for whatever. Then that's very, very heavy. Off the back of, I mean, how does EA come out of that? We fucked up by letting you quit this game. So we're taking a month of you away from exploiting our fuck ups. It's bad for EA. It's a lose-lose situation. So I think putting that 1 week in is kind of, okay, we fucked up. You fucked up, we fucked up. It's a week, we'll go ahead. After that, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens again, is much, much more than just a slap on the back of the hand. I think that'll be wrapping of the knuckles at that point. Okay, it's a month. That's it. You've got a month off. I wouldn't be surprised at that point. This one, because EA are partially to blame, I think that's probably the reason why. For not talking about this story, we've spent 10 minutes on it. Great. Nice. Let me jump back up. Hey, I didn't realise there was that many emotes. She loved to see it. West's love eggs just hiding in the middle of it as well. Check out Timeless as Alex Kidd emotes, by the way. GG's.
I've got an idea for an emote.
Tell me in a sec. It will harm any esports players that did it if they miss 1 week. It harms them massively. Well, if they're esports players, then they need to know better. It's as simple as that. That I have absolutely no level of forgiveness for, because that's where Bibby's rage comes from. Bibby naturally works in our esports team and is used to people cheating and taking exploits. Yeah, exactly. Working the system to benefit them. And it's bad sportsmanship. Being a professional sports person is not only being good, but it's being having good sportsmanship. If you're a bad sport, then you're bad at sport. As simple as that. You might have the physical attributes, but your mental attributes aren't there. So if esports players did it, whether everyone was doing it or not, it's on them. It's on them. I mean, you can't say, I'm sorry I was speeding, officer. I know that you pulled me over, but there was a full motorway of people breaking the speed limit. So did you break the speed limit? Yeah. Well, you're guilty. Okay, nice.
How do these pro players go back to their orgs and tell them, though, that they've been banned from playing this weekend?
I mean, I did cheat. But so did everyone else. Okay, let's go back to the first 3. Look, I did cheat. There you go. That's enough. Get out. Fuck off. Most might be like little kids like Timmy Tenman thinking he's solid for getting no losses. And a lot of them will be that. Probably 10, 12, 14, 15, whatever year old kids going, well, I can do it without getting lost, not realising the implications for the bigger picture. Some of them will be just sour grapes. Well, people keep doing it to me, I'll do it to other people or whatever. There's a bunch in there. Had 5 people do it to me. Take your L, you dosser. If it affected other players that played against the ban should be longer than a week, says Timeless. Mr. Phelps says, Konami rubbing their hands at the foot players moving over to eFootball Wing 11 FIFA mobile card game 2023. NX dropping truth bombs, bro. I lose every game 10-0. He does. It's tricky to rock the rhyme. That's right on time. It's tricky, says, I love to lose. It's what I'm best at. I hear FIFA want £1 billion every 4 years from EA. It was 2.5 billion for a 10-year period is what they wanted. Ridiculous. 1 month ban, make them lose 1 season. After 1 ban, if it continues, wipe their account. Ben Hammers. Okay, let me see. Where are we now, time-wise? 1:08. Do you know what? We'll leave the Destiny story. We'll move that to tomorrow. We'll just wrap up with... We've just talked about idiocy. Because cheating is idiocy. If you cheat, you're an idiot. You're cheating yourself. Not only are you cheating other people, the main person you're cheating is yourself. You're wasting your own time to not do something. If you cheat and win a game, you didn't win a game. So you've wasted the time not winning. It's as simple as that. That's the fact. So you're an idiot if you cheat. You're also an idiot if you send death threats to companies over a game that you haven't played, or any game that you have or haven't played. Death threats over a game? What the fuck? Anyway, real human beings doing their job have had to ask trolls not to abuse them over a video game. This is written by RHIANNON BEVAN at The Gamer. The title says, idiot gamers send death threats to Blue Box over a game they haven't played. So 2 months after it became abundantly clear that Blue Box wasn't some kind of front for a new Hideo Kojima game, some in the gaming community still haven't learned to behave themselves. Now the studio has had to release a statement pleading with gamers to stop sending death threats to them, saying that they will start working with law enforcement if the abuse persists. In a statement titled, "A Message from Us, Human Beings," the team says that the death threats have been increasing in recent days, with some even being made physically rather than just online. The developer says it will start supplying the police with IP addresses, logs, and camera footage to combat the abuse. Quotes, "We have been dealing with death threats the past few months, and the last few days we have been dealing with it again, especially physically," reads a message from the studio. This not only affects us as a team, but everyone within our environments, other businesses, families, and everyone surrounding us. We want to work in a safe environment. The statement also alludes to the situation with Abandoned, the mysterious horror game at the center of all of this. And then this is an embedded statement here. "We are fully aware of the negative situation that we have created, and we truly understand your frustration. But what we don't understand are the death threats. We understand and appreciate your interest for Abandoned. We are working hard on Abandoned. We will start a regular blog on our website that you can follow, and we will post any news on Abandoned on our Twitter. But all we ask until then is just to give us space and let us work on Abandoned. Please." This all started back in April this year when indie developer Blue Box teased a PS5 exclusive horror game codenamed Abandoned. Speculation on whether or not this is actually a Hideo Kojima production in disguise kicked off when the team said the game's real name starts with an S and ended with an L, leading many to believe it was actually Silent Hill. Blue Box quickly put out a statement saying it had no affiliations with Konami or Kojima, but Pandora's box was already open, and everything company did from then on was cited as evidence that it was actually a front for Kojima. Therefore, when the Abandoned Real-Time Experience app launched and it became very clear this was an indie horror rather than a Silent Hill game, the backlash was severe. Today's news proves that hasn't gone away with time either. Abandoned is set to launch in 2022 and will be a PS5 exclusive. Let me just... I mean, I do not condone any of this, by the way, but let me just add in a little bit of a counter. Blue Box quickly put out a statement saying it had no affiliations with Konami or Kojima. I would counter that. I mean, that may seem like that because time has passed. In that moment, Blue Box weren't very quick to react from that statement. Unless someone can provide me with evidence, just going off of what my memories show me, because we spoke about it at that point in time. I could be wrong, and I'm happy to have my comments changed. But I believe Blue Box was sitting on this and letting the rumour mill take this because they realised, look at all the fucking exposure we're getting. People think we're Kojima related and Silent Hill stuff. Starts with an S, ends with an L, yeah. And then obviously it went over the peak of positivity down into the curve of negativity, and they were like, oh shit, we need to put out a statement. So I don't believe they quickly put out a statement. I believe they cashed in on the positivity around it, but then weren't equipped to deal with the negativity. Not that they should have had to deal with the negativity. I'm not condoning that. But I just want to say, I don't believe they quickly put that. And I kind of believe that because they even said, we are aware of the negative situation that we have created. So I believe they were partly to blame for starting this off. But it does not condone what has happened. What are your thoughts, babe?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to bring up the exact same thing that you did there. They've actually taken responsibility for the negativity that they initially created themselves. Like, obviously, hype trains go from 0 to 100 when stuff like this comes about anyway, which is understandable. But they didn't kind of put those fires out. They were just reveling in the fact. But under no circumstances should the shit that they have been getting off of the back of this, like the death threat stuff, I will always find bizarre. Like, I know most of the time no one will ever go through with it, but there is also a chance that someone might. So it's just a lot of angry people writing. They're not even thinking about what they're writing. They're just typing it out and then pressing send straight away. They're not even thinking about who's on the other side of the screen. And they're
It
doing
sounds
it
like
for
it's more than
the
that as well.
person who's
People are doing it physically. People are turning up or whatever it is. You have to assume that's what it means when they say physically and camera footage. I'm assuming people are turning up at their offices and doing it. Fuck.
It's bizarre. I'll never understand that kind of mentality. But I wouldn't, because I'm not a fucking psychopath. So it's shit. It's a very shit situation, and I'm not saying it's entirely Blue Box's fault, because it genuinely isn't. They have played a part in it, and they openly now, thankfully, after many months, have actually admitted that themselves. So that's a step in the right direction. The death threats and everything like that they can get in the bin, they've got no leg to stand on with this stuff. No one should be getting death threats for creating something. The workplace should have been protecting the staff better, and I bet the staff have been sat there thinking, we need to tell people that we're not included with Kojima. We need to tell people what the game's going to be about. We need to give the people more information to try and put these fires out, and the fires have just taken down buildings, never mind what their marketing messages. So yeah, it's a very difficult situation that could have been handled a shit ton better, but it's a situation now that I think is probably on the turn, and people should be cutting these people a lot of slack now. It'll be nice if they actually come forward and give a deeper insight into stuff about what it is that they are actually working on to taper people's expectations, especially if they've come this far. So yeah, that's my 2 pence worth.
I mean, Enix in the chat says, weird thing with the Blue Box is nobody can find one developer who works for them. They haven't completed any title, and there is no way for someone to contact them. This was brought up the other day, and someone tried contacting them, and they couldn't. You can't DM the guy who's the face of it all. I'm assuming that's that Hassan cameraman, or whatever he's called. And they couldn't. You can't DM the guy who's the face of it all. While this is mega shitty thing to do, they've been known to lie constantly to divert attention on their non-existent titles, but nobody should be doing this sort of thing in the first place. I mean, I get that, but I also think if you were an indie developer that doesn't have a web presence, that maybe you have a small team of developers that just haven't put their names on LinkedIn and whatever, it's not unfathomable to think a small developer that hasn't really been successful yet. If you've not been successful yet, you've got no games for people to see. If you've not really been successful yet, and maybe you've got a small team that hasn't really... I mean, if you're a super successful developer living in Sweden, I think was where they're based, maybe you're probably going to work for DICE instead. But if you find yourself working at this smaller developer, maybe you as an individual aren't yet a successful developer. So there's all sorts of reasons why they don't have a presence, because they may just not be successful. They may not have had a presence. Maybe the fact that they don't have a presence is part of the reason why they aren't successful. Maybe that's a sign of it. But for whatever it is, there is a bunch of reasons why they might not have a presence. But if you were a developer at this company that's starting to get some airtime for all of the wrong reasons, including death threats, I think that would 100% make me not put my name out there. Why would you want to put your name to something that could full well be a massive flop, because people's expectations are so astronomically high for a new Silent Hill game, and when the Abandoned Live experience comes out, is that it? Oh, that's shit. And then someone on LinkedIn sees that you made that shit game. Well, I'm not going to put my name out there. There's all sorts of reasons for why people can't get out there. Also, the internet. Lots of people on the internet suddenly think that they are like PI, private eye kind of thingy. It's like, yeah, that's it. I can find anyone on the internet, and because I can't find them, there's something wrong here. It's like, why are you looking for people on the internet, you weirdos? Leave them alone. And that's the thing, though, because these cyber sleuths can't find stuff, it suddenly becomes ridiculous off the back of it. Has anyone watched? There was what was it? There was a program on Netflix about some woman that was crazed in a hotel and went missing in LA and was found dead. And they basically, the whole series was about trying to figure out what happened to her. And within that, the internet, these cyber sleuths found someone that was staying at the hotel at the same time and instantly blamed this person. This person got fucking death threats, dragged down and everything at that point in time, because cyber sleuths put the witch hunt on that person. And I'm not saying they're wrong, these people that about not finding any information on this, but people on the internet digging into stuff, trying to find answers and not being able to find them doesn't necessarily mean, oh, well, I can't find answer for A, so it's definitely B. It's like, what about C or D or E, all the way through to Z and whatever. So, or Don't Fuck With Cats, exactly. Although that one was a little bit better for the internet sleuths. The cyber sleuths on Don't Fuck With Cats did a very good job on that one. The other ones, not so much. I can't remember what it was called. Good program, though. So, yeah, I mean, there's faults. The Abandoned Team, Blue Box aren't faultless in this. But like Bibby said, like I've said, like this article has said, like we all agree, so it doesn't really need saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. Death threats over a fecking video game. If you find yourself at that level of life, then you need to do some soul searching, because that is not acceptable for... Forget video game. That is not acceptable, let alone for something as trivial as a bit of digital escapism. Someone's made a little bit of art. You didn't like it, or it's not what you wanted, so you want them to be dead for it? Really? Check yourself. Check yourself. I blame Brexit, says Lotus. Touche. Yeah. Touche. Okay, let's jump back through the comments, so we'll wrap things up here now then. Especially physical threats in person. I know, I mean, like Bibby says, I mean, it's not acceptable, but in the same way of people just cheating in FIFA, they get swept up because everyone else is doing it. And it's a psychological thing. Crowd mentality exists. When you're in a crowd, you get swept away. You become de-individualized. Therefore, you think it's more acceptable to do things that you wouldn't do because you're not yourself. You're one of the many. And if everyone else around you does it, you go with it. And that's the same. You see it with everything. If a game's doing bad, everyone gets toxic and negative about it because it's de-individualization. You become part of a crowd. Your restraint disappears. So people posting comments online, not good, but you can see where it comes from. To be de-individualized to a point where you feel it's fine to rock up at an office, that's not de-individualization. That's individualization. That's just wrong, in my opinion. D-Max says, howdy guys. Hey, how you doing? Delta B has said, what's it for? Well, it's a game called Abandoned. Basically, the developers liked the fact that people thought it was a Silent Hill game, and it got swept off in some sort of, like, the rumour mill took it and ran with it. But they liked the up arc, but then the down arc, when people realised it wasn't what they wanted, was massively toxic and negative. So they rode the crest of the wave towards positivity, but then it crashed way deeper than it ever should have done. Literally because it wasn't the game that people wanted. And they've never played it. This game isn't out, so they don't know whether it's a good or bad game, but they're just sending death threats anyway, because there's a technical term for it. It's assholes. That's what it is. There you go. Social media is created a culture where people feel safe to abuse, be vile, without getting held accountable or punished for their behaviour. Exactly. To be fair, the shit show that this has turned into probably more likely to be modern day Konami. And it says, so many people I know kill them due to pressure and abuse on socials. It's a horrible platform. When all socials went down with Facebook, it felt like I was free. It's mad. I don't understand why everybody can't be nice and look out for each other's feelings. That's why it's nice to have positive content creators, streamers, nice communities where you feel like you can be safe. Which is hopefully what we feel like we've got. Fucking you! I'm joking, take that. Yeah. But yeah, and if it's not us, it's the people around us. If you're toxic and negative, then we're just not interested. That's not the sort of content that we want in our streams, in our minds. So it's a lot of it is what people want. Some people want that, sadly, without even realize it themselves. They want to be in those situations, and we don't. That's not what we're repping. But seriously, I've been in this kind of position. It's not nice at all. Took its mental and physical toll. It's horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. They're great or good. I feel for them. They've admitted they fucked up with the misdirection. Now let them get on with it. 100%. It's just another indie developer. It's not what you wanted. They've fucked up. You've spat your salt. Move on. Get away. Just stop being so weird. Was it Elisa Lam where she was found in the water tower on top of her? That's the one. I didn't want to mention that to that level, David, because spoilers. But there you go. It's fucking outrageous. That's what I call it. Be nice. Big scammers, says Ads in the chat. Was that program called Clickbait? I've not seen that Clickbait program. Hello. Oh yeah. Oh, and again, yeah. It's big. Special spam delivery. It's fine. It's spam. We're allowed to pause the stream. Bastard. Spam delivery. Spam and egg. Fucking love some spam. Ironic they make a game called Abandoned when they've abandoned all their other games. See, that Ads is banter. That's fine. Going after them and trying to verbally stab them, not so much. To be fair, I think Blue Box is an investment scam with their huge track record over a long period of time. Potentially. It's called Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel or something. That's the one. That's the one. It's actually really good. I mean, it's a good watch anyway, but if you want to see about digital witch hunts, and this is something that happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you look at if you want to see how digital witch hunts can impact people, that's definitely a good case study. Anyway, we'll put a pin in that because that's a bit of a negative slant. When the show has been pretty good. Thank you everyone that's joined in. Marshall 2000, thank you very much for the follow. 17 minutes ago, did hear it come through, but we were in full flow. Appreciate that. Enix for the year and a half sub, we appreciate you. Timeless and Vern with the hosts. You're all beautiful people. Thank you for joining us for yet another scoop. Let me just remind you of this. This is the Ice Cream Uploads new stream schedule. Obviously, you can see we are here. Actually, you can't see because my mouse in there. We are here. Day 3, Wednesday. So we just finished the 10 a.m.-ish scoop. We are going to be live again tonight. I will be chasing crates with mates, and that mate will be iLotus UK. So if you want to see some PUBG this evening, we'll be live from around 6:30 p.m. Myself and Lotus playing some PUBG. Tomorrow, we'll be back with a scoop, and then in the evening, you can join Bibby for a FIFA Frenzy. So if you want to see some football, you want to see him try quit out of games before he gets his loss again. I mean, he's banned for 7 days, so he can't get back on because, you know what he's like. That's what Bibby is, a cheat. Anyway, Bibby will be back live with FIFA 22 tomorrow evening. Make sure you come back. This is our new stream schedule. I will put the link into the chat. If you can do me a favor when we do, actually, I've got it on screen. If you can do me a favor, if you can just hit retweet on this link, that would be very, very much appreciated because then it could let everyone else know what time we will be going live and when. In the meantime, though, Mr. Bib, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, again, thank you very much to each and every one of you that have subscribed, that have followed, that have joined us today and helped shape this show. That is our 3rd one for this week. We still have 2 more that you can help shape. So if you want to help do that, there's 2 ways that you can do that. First of all, find us on social media. It's at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, or get involved with our Discord. If you are watching this on any of our on-demand services, then please feel free to go into the description below. All the information that you require will be listed there for you. All we need from you is a URL plus your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions on the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day?
Well, if you will just cast your eyes at the screen, you'll be able to see the Ice Cream Report stream schedule, and you will see that we will be live at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Ish. As Ads has just dropped the emote in the chat. And Timeless, you'll see it. 10 a.m. tomorrow, we will be live with the next episode of the Scoop. Ish. Before that, though, 6:30 p.m. tonight. Once again. Ish. Myself, Lotus, and maybe more chasing crates with mates, a little bit of PUBG fun times. Until then, though, have yourselves a fantastic day. Stick around for a raid. We're going to drop a raid on a friend because it helps to make people's day. And then I'm going to eat some spam because it's lovely. Anyway, until then, stay
frosty.